Welcome to another episode of Acoustic Chef. This is your boy D Will.
And I am Gina.
This is Capel.
And this is your girl Ebony.
Don't nobody else ever, lead anymore. Like, it's always me.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
it
we
is.
tried that one time. We even had a different rotation. Huh?
You would.
But
then
I
you
remember
stopped.
one time I was about to say my name and you said something. I think you was like Gina, and I was like, okay, well, let's switch the rotation up. So I go with the flow.
Boy. You and Capel, man.
No, I mean, maybe we
he-
recorded it. I don't know.
He secretly liked the lead. I
Y'all
don't
be
know why you
remembering,
tripping, Damien.
who
You
cares,
like the
bro?
lead. You like have seeming like you in charge and stuff. Just stop tripping for the American
we wait
people,
for the
man.
countdown for you to
Stop tripping
start.
for the American people. You got this, bro. It's all
If we
you.
count down, you're gonna say we didn't count down right. Our mic wasn't right. Let me
Y'all
send you a new
can't- the
mic because you don't know
countdown
how to
has-
say 5 right.
The countdown has nothing to do with somebody opening up the show. It don't have
I understand, but we met you. I believe that if one of us takes on the responsibility of opening up the show, you're going to say we didn't lead it right in because, I mean,
I may
that's
say
not-
something just to be joking around, but it ain't happened before. You led before, but you ain't. I didn't ever say nothing. So you and Capel
What-
just be making up this stuff. Y'all be having these fantasies about stuff that I said that never happened, stuff I did that never
Oh,
happened.
so you saying we
It
making
was
stuff up?
implied.
Facts.
You didn't
Just
say
like-
it was implied.
Just like when we had a guest, you try to, Shakandria. So he told me to call him D Will. I never said that. I told you to keep calling me Damien or whatever because it sounds funny when you say D Will.
That was after the fact. Before that, it was the D Will situation.
Anyway, I got a question for y'all.
see, look at you leading. See, we talking.
Yeah,
You just,
because I don't wanna hear this
he likes
bullshit.
to lead. He likes to
Anyway,
lead. He
anyway,
don't know how
F
to
what y'all
follow.
talking about. Right, this is
He don't know
what
how to
I gathered.
follow.
F what y'all talking about. I got a question.
You gathered
Yeah.
correctly.
Okay.
You gathered out of the right bag. That's absolutely.
Question.
Anyway, what's going on with y'all?
That was
No, what's your question? No, is that your question?
We just did all that. I
That
have
was
a question
previous
though.
show. What's up?
And this is we don't have to spend time on this. And if any of our listeners want to help me out with this,
Mhm.
I want to change my Instagram name. Okay, I don't know how to do it, what to do. I've been eTowns44 for the longest because my last name, my maiden name is Towns.
Mhm.
44. I'm from Acres Home, so we
That
call
fofo.
it the fofo because the bus line circulates.
And now you want to change it to Hot Mama 22, but it's so
No,
many of
I
those.
don't know what I want to. I don't know if I want something like professional. I want to be a little ratchet and cool, but I don't want to be embarrassed, So then I was like, okay, well, just you're damn near 40 years old. Just your last name is Curry. Let's do Ebony Curry, Eb Curry. Well, they're
Mhm.
taken everywhere. So, and the people that have taken it haven't used their pages since like 2012. So I'm reporting their page every day, hoping that Instagram will like
so you can
erase
take
them.
it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I need help with that because I feel like I shouldn't have the numbers in my name anymore, and I also that's not my name, so I don't know, should I keep
don't
it?
know.
You can,
But
you can do like
Nobody
Regina
know what
and
it is,
put.
though.
You can do like Regina and put 100 E's
Yeah,
in the
right.
front when she got 100.
That's-
Listen,
that's
I was
because-
changing.
No, I did that because I wanted to be damn Gina, and like the regular way you spell it and the way I spell my name, it was taken already. And then I added an E and it was taken, and then I added another E, and I kept adding until it wasn't taken no more. So I ended up with like
But it gives you that
5
dramatic
E's.
effect,
But
like
you're right.
damn, Gina.
It's no, the name itself is actually very creative. But the reason I said that is because on our I changed our names for our show starting with the one that we did last week. And I put our Instagram names because I want people to follow us. And I had to count all these A's. I was like,
You ain't
because
put
it's so
enough.
small. It was so
It's
small.
5.
I was like, it's no, I put more than 5. It's 7. It's 7
Is it?
A's.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Did
7
you-
A's.
See, she ain't
And
even know
I kept
that.
looking. Exactly, I kept looking. I was like, dang, do I got enough? Because it was just hard for me. Because if I put the wrong amount of A's, it's not going to be the right person's name. It's going to be a different profile.
Right.
But that's the only reason why I brought that up. But
It
it
is
actually
7.
is a good name. Yeah, I remember. I know. You know how many
7
times I
A's.
went through that and make sure I had the right amount of A's.
Wait, it's 7 A's and 2 E's in Gina. Did you?
Yeah, I got that part right. That was easy. It was them
Okay,
A's
all
because they start looking the same when you count as you're going down that line or whatever.
Like, no, I put a
Oh, so
symbol.
what's your question, Ebony?
How to
Help me come up with a
name.
name. I mean, we don't have to do it right now, but maybe the listeners will chime in and on our YouTube page or message us. But I need help.
I think it depends on what you're using it for. Like Instagram is where I go to post all of the stuff that I'm not gonna put on Facebook, all of the stuff that none of my mom's friends aren't friends with me on Instagram, none of that stuff. So I can get as ignorant as I want. And that's why that's why it's Damn Gina, because also I don't want, certain people I work with or the population I serve, I don't want them finding me. And so if they that's why my name is what it is on Instagram.
So what if you put a random combination of numbers behind it or something like that?
I don't want numbers. I want to
or you want to get away from numbers?
I want to move away from the numbers.
I feel you.
Is it a must to have like elements of your name in it?
It's not a must, but I want it to describe me. I don't want it to be like chocolate Nubian princess. Like I want it to be like something
that's probably taken anyway.
I just feel like I want it to be like, okay, I have so many Instagram pages because I'm always starting new businesses and then I don't even post on them because I'm so sick of, I just want one page. Like, I don't care. It may be not professional, but if it's business, if it's my children, if it's me, if it's ratchet, you just gonna get what you get on this page. And I need you to know it's me.
Put like certified Eb Curry or Eb Curry certified. Or
I kind of like certified. I kind of like that. I had my best friend's aunt used to call me Eb the Celeb, and I looked that up and somebody took it, so I thought that was cute. Eb the Celeb.
So. That's cute.
Like you can't think of nothing no more in this world. Certified. Too many people.
Yeah, but anyway, that's that.
Would y'all? I saw something the other day that people, I don't know, it was kind of a question or whatever, because some people was upset about this, and some people was like, nah, it's cool or whatever. That's a true friend or whatever. But I just wanted to get y'all take on it. How would y'all feel? Y'all meet the love of y'all life. Y'all about to have, or y'all have this ceremony. Y'all get married. Family's there. His family, y'all family, compelled the opposite in reverse or whatever. Would you be upset if one of your friends or just some random person that's there that was invited gets on one knee and proposes to their significant other at your wedding? Like, is that a no-no, or is that a hey, it is what it is, go for what you know? Would you feel differently if they talked to you about it first, or if they just went for it?
If they talked to me about it first, and I mean, I probably would be like, okay, whatever, but do it at this time. Like I would be specific about when I want them to do it. But in general, I would prefer you to like let my day be my day. Yeah. Let my wedding be my wedding. That's tacky as hell.
Is that for you?
But go ahead.
I was going to ask, is that for you though, or is it just for your wife?
It's for, in my mind, I'm thinking for both of us, because like even if my wife was like, it would be a fiance if she was like, well, nah, let them do that. That's so cute. I'm not thinking about the selfishness of it as far as like, I just don't want you to do it. I'm thinking about how much attention it may take from our actual day. Like, you have no idea how that's going to go. People may start focusing on them. Oh, that was so beautiful how you said this. And your wedding, you invited those people. You paid all those thousands of dollars for that. You want everybody to be all up in your grill. You want everybody to be all focused on you. You know what I'm saying? So while I don't too much care for weddings, because like me and my wife, we did a destination wedding, small group of people. If I did it, I would want it to be a focal point on us. So I'm like, why would I want anything there that took away attention from our actual day? So like, if my boy or her homegirl or my homegirl or whatever what it was like, hey, this is what I want to do beforehand, I probably would work with them on it, but I would be like, this is when you need to do it at this particular moment. Like this is the time. Any other time, don't do it. But outside of that, I would prefer it to just not happen.
When would that time be? Before
I have no damn idea. It depends on
definitely.
I don't even know. I'd probably be like when everybody leaving.
No, I think it just depends. Like if like I could imagine that happening. Like I did have a wedding, I did have a ceremony, and we didn't really do. So I threw out all the traditional stuff. We didn't throw the bouquet. We didn't jump over the broom. I didn't do anything. I just wanted everybody to party. But I would say if my best friend, oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. Now she got married a few months after I got married. But if he would have come to me or my husband and wanted to do that, I'd have been all for it, because that's my bestie. Like, it's my homie. Like, that would have made my day even more special. But of course, but if you just well, first of all, it shouldn't be no randoms at my wedding. But if you just take it upon yourself,
somebody in his family.
Oh, somebody in whose family?
I'm saying it could have been somebody in your husband's family, even though that's when I say
they needed to come talk to us about it, but I probably would have been like, nah. I mean, and I have to be truthful. Like, I mean, that's wrong on me, but I probably would have been nah. But if it was my bestie, yeah, go for it. Or anybody that was in my bridal party and somebody did that. Or family. I think I would have liked it, depending on who it was. But they would have had to do it, like Capel said, at a certain time. I guess I probably would have set it up to throw the bouquet and made sure she caught it, and then he would have had to turn around and be there. I would have had to do something like that, hoping it works out, or whoever caught it, like, no, you ain't keeping it, give it to her,
I would do that too. I would coordinate with them. I wouldn't, especially if it was a good friend of mine, I would make them a part of my day as well. Hopefully the friend would be close enough to where they were actually a part of the bridal party. And then it would be easier to coordinate. And it would be a surprise for her if he came to me and said, hey, I want to do this. Can we do a specific time? And it would definitely be after the ceremony, sometime during the reception, after everybody has eaten and we're just partying. And then, all of a sudden, here's something else for you guys to enjoy. And then we have this whole proposal situation. So I don't think
that. I'd be like, man, you always ride my coattails. How come you can't do stuff on your own? You know what I'm saying? It's my wedding. I put together all this, and now you want to just jump in and be like, hey, this would be special. You ain't paid for none of this. You gonna go half on the wedding? Huh? You gonna give me a little 25% out of this up? No, I'm just playing. I'm joking. I'm playing.
I mean, I guess.
What if your wife didn't care about it? Would you still, like, what if your wife, like, say, like,
I'm very indifferent, man. I would give my opinion, and if she was like, let's do it, I'd be like, cool, whatever.
How much attention do you really think it's gonna take away? Because everybody gonna clap and like, yay, couple pictures, and then move back to the regular schedule.
I mean, that may be what happened, but I always try to think 2-3 steps ahead of situations. I don't just like think about the moment itself. I think about what's gonna happen after the moment. Hey, you can call it that if you want to. But I think about that stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm going to come to that conclusion and say, hey, we're not going to do it because this is going to happen. I'm going to bring it up, and then we can make a decision after thinking through all of that. But the thing is like, it's like, I really, to be completely honest, I really wouldn't care. But I would be thinking in the back of my mind, if you did it on your own, I would probably say something to you. Like, that was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But if you came... No, I'm gonna let them know that I think it's fucked up.
Get out.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not gonna kick them out. I'll be like, it was fucked up. But if it was something planned, like if you came to me, I ain't gonna lie. Like if you came to me, like Eb said and Regina said, I mean, you my boy, like you my brother. I'd be like, man, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Let's plan it. But if it was somebody who was coming to my wedding, but they weren't like really close, and they still like asked me to do it, first I'd be like, what's the significance of what you wanted to propose at my wedding? We're not even cool. That's the first thing I want to know. Like secondly, I'm like, if we do it, like I said, it would have to be my wife's decision. I would put it in her court, because weddings tend to be bigger for women than they are for men, the actual ceremony of a wedding. So if she was all right with it, I'd be like, all right, let's do it.
I think also if that person and their like potential fiance or whatever, if they also know all of the guests, like if they don't know very many of the guests, then it doesn't make sense to propose at somebody else's wedding, because the whole purpose, at least for me, if you're going to do a public proposal, you want people around you that you already know. So like if it were my best friend, then hopefully her mom would be at my wedding because we're best friends, or, some of her family would be there too, because we're just that close, and all of our same mutual friends would be there. But if it's just a guest at the wedding and they don't know everybody else, or they don't know very many people there, it doesn't make sense for them to propose. Then I would feel like, oh, you trying to steal my shine? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And the other question I was going to say is, the other question I would ask the person is, hey, you sure she gonna say yeah? Because if Because if you're not sure, man, you might want to propose in a more secluded location. Because if she say no, you're gonna fuck up my wedding.
Right.
Like that's gonna be a conversation. That's gonna be the conversation for the rest of the night that she said no.
Now tell me this. So that leads me to another question or whatever. You've been with this girl, Capel. You've been with her y'all been together for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Y'all never had a discussion about marriage or whatnot, but you just feel like, hey, I'm ready to move forward with this relationship. I'm already committed to you. Let's take this commitment to the next level or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you pick the perfect spot, the perfect time, and all of this good stuff or whatever, and you get down on one knee and you propose to this woman, and she say that, well, she's not ready yet or whatever. Is the relationship over, or can y'all move forward? You know what I'm saying? And have a discussion about this.
First of all, I would never do that shit. Like, I would never do that. I would never propose to somebody that I've never had a conversation with about us being married. But
that's what this dude say he did, though. He said he proposed to this chick, and she said, hey, we got to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready yet or whatever. And so he broke off the relationship.
I mean, I wouldn't break off the relationship, because that, to me, he broke it off out of pride.
It's pride.
He is embarrassed, you know. Like, if your relationship is good, but she needs time to talk about, like, y'all haven't talked about it. It's on one of y'all to bring this conversation up, to talk about marriage, to know what each person is in a relationship when it comes to marriage and where they, you know. So he didn't bring it up. She didn't bring it up. It's nobody's fault. I mean, it just happened. But you the one that decided to propose. So the fact that she said, I'm not ready, and you embarrassed, that's your fault. Because you shouldn't have proposed like that. I wouldn't break up. I would have to swallow my pride and be like, can we talk about it? To see where she is, you know? And if she's like, I'm not ready for marriage, I don't know when, now I got a decision to make. Now I have a decision to make, because if I'm ready for marriage and she's not ready to move on, how long do I want to wait? Or do I realize that maybe it's not the one and I break it off and leave? But if I just break it with her because she said no, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous. It's like you kind of have to, it shows that there's a breakdown of communication in that relationship, because I know all women aren't the same, but you don't really have to wait for hints to see if a woman wants to be married. I mean, women going to be talking about rings, or they're going to talk about ceremonies, or if they're not even talking about the materialistic side of a wedding, they're going to be talking about combining families or what our kids are going to look like. There's going to be some type of communication somewhere where you know she's thinking about a future with you. Right. So there's no, oh, she made me some eggs, I know she want to get married. No. So if you just proposed and she said no, either y'all had some arguments and some shit just went down, or y'all have never had the conversation, like you said. So
I think some dudes, like, I mean, think about it. If you've been with this person for X amount of time, well, you know, some people are faster than others. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Some people fall, you know, and accept the infatuation for what it is quicker than others and all of the good stuff or whatever. So I think if you the type of dude that feels like, okay, I know she feeling me because we doing all this stuff together and woo, but we never talked about marriage, I could see somebody doing that. I could see that happening a lot of times or whatever. But like you say, I mean, everybody doesn't, I don't think everybody gauges emotion the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, some dudes may look at the little things that she is doing as she's into me. You know what I'm saying? And not realize that, hey, dude, most likely if she really wants a future with you, she's probably gonna, you know, be talking about a future with you and stuff like that. But some dudes think that, okay, this is a grandiose gesture. You know what I'm saying? It's a grand gesture. I'm showing the ultimate gesture. I love her. I want to be with her. We've been kicking it for a year now, whatever. And I really love this girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, does she love you back?
Right. It's a litmus test. I don't know.
You just find out, maybe.
Do she have friends? I mean, I know you shouldn't always have to bring other people in. Really, you should just know between that person. But maybe you say, hey, I'm thinking about what kind of ring you think she like, just to kind of gauge what the friend would say. I don't really know the answer, but I do know that what they say, women are from Mars and men are from Venus, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. I understand that we read emotions differently, but I'm more of a black and white type person. So I may do the nicest things for you, but that doesn't mean I want to spend my life with you. That just means that I think you're a dope person and I want to do this nice thing. Like, you're gonna know I want to live with you forever. So I don't know.
Is there any world where Gina and Ebony could get down on one knee?
Oh hell no, not a Ebony. No.
I don't think so. I don't. Let me think.
What if you don't have to get on one knee? You just say,
I don't think I've ever met a man who I felt strong enough about that I wanted to be the one to be like, hey, let's do this. Like none of the, and I've been married before, so and I didn't know.
Man, that's
you know what? Even if I thought about it, like right now, thinking back, I would have told my husband, I wouldn't have said yes right away. I would have said, let's wait a while. We can get married, but let's work out some things first. Because once I said yes, it was like the mad dash to the altar. Like he didn't give me time to wait. And we've discussed this before, so I feel comfortable talking about it. He didn't give me time to, like, we didn't have enough time to work out some things that we should have worked out before we actually got married. Like, how are we going to raise our children? How are we going to make sure they're, their schooling? And how are we going to save for, this and that? Like, how are we going to combine our finances? Are we going to do that? Like, we didn't work out some of those major issues before we got married. So then afterwards they became a problem. So we've had to work through them. And, at times I'm like, you know what, you stupid. This is stupid. I never should have said yes. And I'm out. Like I've said that a couple of times because we didn't. So if that's a thing, like if a guy is going to propose, or even if a woman is going to propose, I don't think there's a problem with that. I just think that they should definitely have their issues worked out beforehand. Like all of the issues, work on finances, how you going to raise your kids, how you going to, even down to things like, are you going to let them dress themselves and eat sugar? Because I didn't let my oldest son eat sugar. And he's 6'5" and he's slim and he's fairly healthy. He doesn't eat a lot of sugar now, but that little one, he'll trick you into giving him all your cookies. He knows how to manipulate you into giving him whatever it is he wants. And he's chunky because my husband allows that. So I would have gone.
So what if, Regina, what if you could go back and you would have done things differently, but your husband, or at the time your boyfriend would say, like, he would propose to you and you're like, yeah, but not right now. Let's wait because we need to work on some things. We say, okay, that's cool. Just like whenever you're ready, just propose to me. Would you be okay with that?
I would have accepted the ring.
Oh, you just would have waited for the marriage. You would have waited longer. And
we would have had a longer engagement. Yes, we would have been. And then if it didn't, like if we couldn't come to agreements on certain things before we actually said I do, then I would have, and I felt strongly about that even then. There were times when I don't know if y'all have seen the episode, but I did do an episode of Bridezilla. And at the altar, like before I went inside that chapel, I looked at my daddy and I said, I don't want to do this. What if I just run? And he said, girl, I will grab you by that veil and drag you down the aisle. You're doing this. Like I flew to Houston for you to get married. You get married today. And I was like, oh, okay. But I felt like we didn't have everything worked out. So we just had to work through it since we've been married. And
I agree there. And I haven't been married long, but I think these are the same things I'll talk to my children about. Like I think I'll just say for me, people don't really give you the real and talk to you about. And I know, Damien, this is not your question, and I'll go back to that one. But I think so many times it's like you think, okay, I've already said yes. I got to go for it. I got to push it. Maybe I'm having cold feet or whatever. But I think there's a lot of things that people need to work out because in the relationship stage, it's like, okay, I could be with this person. But then when you start bringing, marriage is essentially, in my opinion, is a business, right? So yeah, there's some love and emotion, but you're really bringing finances, you're bringing ideologies, you're bringing a lot more to the table than you ever would just as a boyfriend and girlfriend. And I think you think it's okay, but when every day, like little things that you have to deal with every day, can you do that forever? And sometimes when my husband gets on my nerves, I look at him and I say, forever is a long time. It is and he's like, well, what you want to do about it? Shit, I'll let you know. But
you know what, Ebony, and I agree, but I also not really playing devil's advocate, but just looking at the other side of it. It's like, I think sometimes because I think sometimes people wait and they say to themselves, well, we need to get these things together. We need to live together, or we need to, talk about finances. We need to work on finances before we get married. And things go south and they break up. But when you get married many times, but the thing is a lot of times when you get married, that forces you to not leave and work through it. Because I can honestly say that if me and my wife would have waited to figure some things out, we may have broke up and may have never got married. But getting married forced us to work through some things that we probably would have broke up with each other for. Yeah. So it's a double-sided coin. I can't say it's a right or wrong, but because there's a balance that has to be there. Like, you have to feel comfortable knowing that you can maybe work those things out without having to fully know that, hey, we have to do it first before we go through that process. I don't know. It's difficult. It is difficult to determine.
It's kind of difficult, but how many times have you had a situation that you didn't have the answer for and things worked themselves out? That's happened a lot of times in your life. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
so
yes, but not
everything's not perfect.
But
is different though.
Yeah.
Look, for one, we shouldn't even though we shouldn't have to spend a lot of time talking about finances or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If we should have generally, you handle your business, I'm gonna handle my business, we're gonna come together. It should be general. I'm not saying that that's how it is, because I know it's messed up or whatever. You got people that are not good with finances, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just the fact of we living in this construct that tells us that we got to have a lot of money to do the things that we want to do. So I understand that, but it's like, damn, we can't just be in love and love each other's company and all of that good stuff or whatever, and we can work out some of this other shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I think you can, but I also think it's very it depends on when you get married, right? So I got married late, right? So that love part and all that, and I'm not saying that's for everybody that's 30, but in 20s, I wanted that. Now, and I love my husband, don't get me wrong, but what makes me want to be with someone forever is beyond love for me. So I know when people say at the end of the day, it's just about love. There are some people that I really, really loved, somebody I thought was my soulmate, and I was like, it doesn't matter what you are for me emotionally, you ain't good for me. We ain't doing it, So it got to come to a point where it's like, okay, these are some non-negotiables. Because some things, like, I think I'm handling business, my husband think he's handling business, but we don't believe that we're handling business together properly for the unit of our family, but we're doing things separately, So I'm saying those kinds of things, and I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but I'm saying those are some of the conversations that we probably glazed over. We talked about those things in the beginning, but it's like when you really get in that nitty gritty, and then he see Amazon come for me and he complaining, and I'm like, but shit, you get a haircut every damn week, so you telling me I can't get an Amazon package, So it's things like that. Like, what is the sacrifice? What are we willing to do? Mm-hmm. And you're right, there are some things that do work itself out. And Capel, you hit it on the head with, we probably wouldn't even be together if we worked everything out. But I think it comes to a certain point, especially when kids are involved, or you've already made it to a certain point in your careers, you become more stubborn, and there's some things that you have more to lose, and you got to make sure you're making the right choice, because you're building together, but you're not building from a blank foundation. You've already started building on your own. Mm-hmm. So I got to make sure that everything else doesn't crumble down, because I see some people that should have had these conversations and they're still together trying to work it out. And I'm like, no, you're going to die unhappy, because that ain't probably what y'all should have, in my opinion, probably shouldn't even been together.
It's a I ain't even gonna say it's a fine line. I mean, you see red flags during your situation. Some people stay together for the wrong reasons, you know what I'm saying? And some people break up for the wrong reasons, and vice versa, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, it's not a cookie cutter thing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like Capel said, if we tried to work out, just like having a kid, if we was like, well, damn, we don't make enough money to have, most people don't, you know what I'm saying? But once you have that child, you're going to find a way. The community is gonna come together, you know what I'm saying? Your mama gonna be a babysitter sometime, your siblings and all of that type of stuff. Yeah, all of those things or a lot of times happen or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you can't see that beforehand or whatever. Sometimes you just thrust into something and without even making a decision, it just happens. And so now you got to make decisions after the fact. or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about like whether or not to have a child, because kids happen, but when they get there, you should have some idea of how you're going to raise them, whether you're going to we're going to take them to church every Sunday, and we're going to make sure they athletic, or like what is are we going to let them wake themselves up in the morning?
The first child is an experiment anyway, so
but I had plans for the first child.
Yeah.
I had plans for him, and we got up every morning and he ate a bowl of oatmeal. I made him his lunch and I dropped him off at school. After school, he went to karate, and then I picked him up, or I went to the gym and then I picked him up, and then we had a routine. This little one, there's no specific routine, and I thrive on routine, and so does my older child. So the little one is he's just kind of doing whatever. He runs the house pretty much.
You can see the difference.
Just wake up, mommy, I'm up. Let's go.
Does. He does.
Where the Fruit Loops at?
5 o'clock in the morning on the weekends. He's up at 5 a.m. on the weekends, like making himself breakfast and watching the big TV in the living room. It's loud too. So everybody in the house can know. I'm like, why the hell is he not in his room? He has a TV in there with all the same channels. Why is he why is he waking us up? Like, why is he disrupting? He's disruptive. The big one is not disruptive. I trained him that way. But the little one is disruptive because he's been allowed to run amok, and because we didn't see eye to eye on how to rear him. And so now it's like, let's wheel him back in, but it's almost too late because he already got used to running the damn house. So you definitely have to have those things figured out. And then if you can't figure them out, then it might be best not to procreate or not to be together, because you don't want a child running amok, because the little one's running amok right now.
Okay, but what if that's his personality? What if it's nothing that you was going to be able to do to make him not run amok?
You won't know that unless there's still going to be something.
I mean, I was gonna say, I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that even if he does have a personality to like wake up and like, if you put structures in place, he will still fall within the structure. He may still like test the waters. He may still still wake up at 5 o'clock. If you don't put structures in place. So for example, I'm just throwing this out there. I have no idea.
Example afterwards.
So I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not gonna fight it, but they know the structure. These structures may take years for the person to really understand or live within. But if you don't have the structures, that's going to be a real problem, because like the process doesn't just start when you're a kid and end when you're a kid. It could start when you're a kid and not work for years, and finally when they become an adult. Like I remember when, like it happens like that. Time. It is, but that's how it happens. You know how many things that I rebelled against when I was a kid that I understand now as an adult, and not. But that's,
of course, but we talking about her little boy running amok right now, and I'm saying that it may not be. Deuce has been Deuce since he came out the womb. I'm a ass whooper. I hand out ass whoopings.
But that doesn't.
I hand out punishment. It doesn't, but everything, the constructs and all of that, everything that you could possibly try, we have done it. And he is the same person since he came out of the womb.
Yeah. And I would say they're similar with my niece, but my niece, one thing I'll say, my sister didn't start off with consistent structure. So I know some people say I have structure, but consistency is key with a lot of people. And then it's like, if you go to a daycare, or you got a grandparent, or you got a parent that's not on the same accord, like, if I'm going over here and doing this, just because you got structure over here, I'm not gonna, like, they have to have it consistently. Like my niece is one of those that you have to stay on consistently. You can't be like, oh, okay, today I'm gonna allow you to slide, because once you allow her to slide, then you probably got a good 6 months of reeling her back in. Where my daughter, structure, my husband came in with kids.
She's different.
But she was programmed that way, and I hate to say that I programmed her. No. You know your child, but I know my child,
and I know your child too, and she is different.
She's definitely different, but she has some programming. Some of that is programmable. Some of it is just her, because there's some things,
personality.
some personality traits I see that are like her dad, and she's never really been around her dad for probably more than 12 hours of her life, you know? So, and I see him through and through. So I understand that some things are genetic and some things are, you know, it is what it is. But like, within that structure, it is really there. And when she does fall out of it, she knows she did wrong. It ain't like, oh, what am I doing? What are you mad at? So it's still there. When she does wrong, she chooses wrong, not because she doesn't know where to align. Yeah.
Or she hasn't been taught,
or confused.
Them, and then they follow what you teach. And I'm not gonna say I haven't been allowed, but I know that a lot of times my husband, I would say, no, don't let him do that, or no, make him do this. And my husband's like, why we gotta make him wear pants, you know, that zip up with a button? Why can't he wear, you know, his you know, what do you call it, joggers or whatever? Jordan hasn't worn a pair of jeans probably since he was a baby, because he don't like wearing like real clothes. So even when we go somewhere fancy, it's a fight to get that boy into a pair of slacks, because he's been allowed to do that because his daddy let him do it. And so
when I talk to other people, and I've talked to your sister, I feel like something is like, I don't know, they did something to these kids or whatever. Like it's something in the water or something or whatever. Because when I talk to, like, it's no reason that you telling me all of these different people, and there's discussion, there's groups, case studies, and all of this type of stuff. There's from different backgrounds, people who believe in corporal punishment, people who don't, people who punish, people who don't, people who believe in structure, some people who don't know whatever, and we're all having the same exact problem. Then that means that this is a personality trait that you can't, it's not much that you can do about it.
It's a personality trait in the parents, not in the kids.
I don't believe that.
How
and
is
the
that?
reason why I don't believe it, well, you go ahead, Ebony.
Talking about
answer his question. Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, Well, he's the expert. But I was just gonna say that I think we parent a little differently, and I think now we don't have time and patience. And I'm not just saying you, Damon. I'm not saying just the mom and dad. I'm saying the parenting village is different. Some kids need, just like we talked about before, you can't teach all kids the same. So they started saying, if you can't learn in this classroom, we label you and you're over here, you're special ed, but you're not necessarily special ed, right? You just may have a behavioral issue, and I don't know if y'all call it special ed, but or you may just learn differently. Some kids, and then, so with the white kids, before we started doing it, they had Montessori and then direct instruction. They understood that it was more than just one way to teach these kids. So with us, we throw all of our kids in there and we expect them to do one thing. By the time we see that there's a problem or our kids are being labeled, we're sounding the alarm. And I think I heard an educator tell me one time, like, if you don't get certain things implemented in a kid by like third grade, you pretty much have lost them, right? So everything else is just building foundation or hoping, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, so we finally, like, by the time most of us figure out our kid, whoopings don't work for this kid, they're already about 8, 9 years old. Or this kid just need another hug, or this kid needs something, I don't know, whatever the special attention they need to trigger that switch in their brain. By the time we get it, they've already built the foundation of their learning curve. So I don't really know what the right answer is.
That's kind of like along the lines of what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, you know, babies, like when they're born, of course they have like a personality. You know, some babies cry a lot, some babies don't. Some babies, you know, they just, I mean, whatever it is. But I believe that your personality, for the most part, is shaped by your experiences, the things that you see, the things that are like the people that you're around, and you know how you interpret that. And you know, so when you like 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, a lot of times a lot of times parents are not paying attention to some of the things that they're doing that may have an effect on how their child reacts or how they interpret things or whatever. And there is a like, I can't remember what it's called, but like they talk about a child's brain and how it's like fluid or whatever, and that is like real resilient. But once they get to a certain age is when they start to really, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like brain therapy or brain research or whatever. Mm-hmm. They talk about like when a child really starts to their brain starts to develop or whatever. But so when they're young, they soak in so much. That's why if you like focus, that's why if you focus on certain things with a child when they're real young, they seem like they're super smart, but it's because you focus with that particular thing, you know. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't focus on like specific things. They just kind of they're very broad in how they raise their kids, very well rounded. So that but anyways, my point is, so some kids, they don't respond to everything. They don't react to certain things. So when you are young, when you're a parent and you're doing all these things, it's possible that because you didn't understand your child when they were that young, the things you were doing, they weren't helpful at that time. But you have people who you have people that have gone through the same thing you've gone through, and they can tell you that this is what I did when it was this age, and the child came out of it. So just as you have as many people that have the same issue and they're like not dealing well with it or it's not working, you have a lot of people who have the same issue that they were able to help their child and they were able to get out of it. It's not a one size fits all. It's not a cookie cutter situation. It doesn't mean you didn't do anything wrong as a parent, but I think when you stop doing anything that you can to help the child, that's when you make a mistake. Like I have a student, a student that pulled out some perfume and a lighter and lit it on the bus. This kid is a good kid. He's very impulsive. Somebody said it and he just did it. This same kid, I asked him what happened when you got home. He's like, Mr. Angel, I got a butt whooping. I got a butt for 2 or 3 days. He's like, they took turns on me. I acted like I ain't hear it. But I was like, okay. I say, so and the reason why I asked him that is because just 2 days ago, he got in trouble because he was throwing pencils on the bus, the same bus, from the front of the bus to the back. And I was like, what's going to happen to you when you get home? Man, I'm going to get a whooping. I said, that's going to happen, and yet you still doing it. But yet, so like he knows what his consequence is going to be. And as he's saying that, he's not, I don't care. He's crying because now he's thinking about what's going to happen at home. But yet he still is acting up and doing the same thing. So it's not I don't care. It's not I'm not being raised right. It's not my parents don't care. It is this kid has not been reached on how to properly think. And nobody's ever been able to do it yet. And right now, many of us don't have an answer. But if we stop working with him, I guarantee you he's going to have a hard adult life. If we keep working with him, at some point it's going to click. At some point it's probably going to click.
Oh, my God. So the scientific method gives us different. You have the constant and then you have the different variables. I just told you the different variables with the different people from different backgrounds. The constant would be the child in this specific behavior. What y'all saying is accurate for the non-cookie cutter situation or whatever that we're talking about, that there's different people or whatever. The child that you're talking about would possibly work in a specific setting where, just like me, I may have been bad because of, you know what I'm saying? And that reasoning could have been social or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about people with social issues just because, like me, just personally, I was from LA. When I moved to Louisiana, I was different. So I was trying to fit in or whatever. So my shit I didn't have a mental issue or whatever, I was just trying to fit in with the people that was around me and stuff like that or whatever. So I'm talking in class, I'm cutting up, I'm doing what the other kids doing. I get an ass whooping, I'm good for a while. And then I'm right back to my shenanigans or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I can internalize that and understand what's going on. If you haven't seen the situation that we've gone through with Deuce, what Twin is going through with Cadence, and I got a homegirl that's going through the same situation with her daughter, you don't understand. You think you do, and you think you can solve it with, you know what I'm saying, the norm, you know what I'm saying, and being an educator and stuff like that. But this dude has been getting kicked out of daycares since he was a baby, since he was 1 and 2 years old or whatever. He's been showing the same signs that he's shown. When I talked to my homegirl in Kansas City that's going through the same thing with her daughter, she said it's the same exact story or whatever. I'm not saying they're the same person or whatever, but until you live in this, you don't understand. We've tried so many different things, so many different constructual things to put in place or whatever. And in front of us, he may be cool. When he goes to school, it's totally different. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what do you do? But just continuously do the same thing. Like you say, Capel, it may be years before we see
some clicks.
Yeah, something clicks or whatever. But will that be because of the construct that we are in the programming that we're trying to put in place, or will it just be because it was just going to take that amount of time anyway?
No, you're right. You don't know, and you can't pinpoint exactly like how it's going to click and when it's going to click and what was the conditions that made it click. The thing is like what you just highlighted is that the issue is like you just said, when he's with y'all, it's cool or whatever. But the expectations at home,
cool, but we can't kick them out. So,
well, I'm not talking about kicking them out. I'm not talking about kicking them out. But like you're right. Like people who don't go through it don't fully understand. My point is so you also can't say that the people who figured it out, well, their situation was totally different, because it wasn't necessarily that they figured it out. Maybe something that they like people respond, kids respond so differently all the time. There's kids who we've dealt with and nobody can reach them. And then finally somebody from outside comes in, and now that relationship, it helps them to change or work on changing. And they still get in trouble all the time, but you can see the change. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm not saying I got the answer, but the only thing I'm really saying is everything that y'all doing, only way you really mess up is if you stop doing it. Like that's the only way you really mess up, is if you stop doing it, because a lot of kids are going to get it once they get to a certain age. Right. Some kids, the parents, a lot of times the parents complain is, well, I don't have this problem at home, or like he does this at home, but it's not to that extent. Well, the expectations at home are not the same at school. At home, they're not expected to sit down for a certain amount of time and work for a certain amount of hours and have to transition with a bunch of kids who are playing around in the hallways. So yes, we're going to get a lot of things that happen in school that you don't see at home. And that in itself could be the issue, is that his personality doesn't really work well for school and what school expects. But once he's out of school, he might not even have no issues no more, because those same expectations are not on him. But he gets to college, he probably fine because his schedule is his own. He can do what he want to do. He's not breaking laws. And I'm not talking about Deuce. I'm just talking about kids in general. A lot of the issues are not like they're going to jail, they stealing and acting up. They just don't fit the constraints of school. And because the constraints of school are so specific and guided, it makes them seem like a problem kid, when in reality, they're not a problem kid at all. They just can't be handled at school because of what we expect.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Imagine a 2-year-old or 1 or 2 or 3-year-old getting kicked out of school. Now, I understand. I remember, Damien, we talked a while ago, and I was just like, Deuce is good. And he was like, yeah, I believe that too, till I saw something, I think you saw a video or something. But my thing is this, and even when I go back to my niece, I feel like from an early age, you're in daycare. You're not even in school yet. You're not school age yet, and you're getting kicked out. You're not like a little Chucky, like running around with a knife trying to kill anybody. So what would make I wouldn't say 6 months, but what make a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, even in the terrible twos, get kicked out? So if you, and this is my own psychological assessment, and I have no background, but it's like if I was my niece, and those things are embedded in you. Because I know people say, you can't remember back when you were 2 or 3. I can remember some things, Yeah. So I can remember some things I dealt with in daycare. So imagine people, you thinking, oh, I like these people at this school and I like my teachers. Okay, well, I just ate the candy they told me not to eat, and I did it again and again. Now I'm kicked out. You gave up on me. I know she's not thinking in her head like everyone's giving up on me. But how does that evolve? I'm getting kicked out for everything I'm doing. I'm also seeing some other kids doing some things. I think they're bad. I'm bad. They don't get a sticker. I get a, little thing, whatever little kids think. And how does that evolve into how my behavior is going to be when I'm around other people or put in other situations where you just going to give up on me and you're just going to kick me out. And I don't think that little ones think that way, but I still think it's that same thought process.
It's conditioning. It's conditioning.
Definitely. So I do think that there are outliers, and I understand. I don't know, and I get, but at the end of the day, like, what did he do at the first time that was so bad? Yes, it may have evolved into worse, but what did he do so bad for them to kick him out? And how did that shape him?
That's the thing about it. Y'all know that I'm analytical. It did not involve. It didn't evolve into worse. If you look at any type of situation or whatever, just like you said, Ebony, that you, even though she wasn't raised around her dad, you can see traits
Mhm.
of her dad in him,
Uh-huh.
because that's how it works. That's how recessive
Genetics.
and that's how genetics work or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe. Are there things that can change about you growing up? Yes, certain people, yeah, or whatever, but it's just not going to always work that way. Some things about you are there from day one or whatever. It's not. I don't think it's nothing like certain people say, like take a person that's that that is hooked on drugs, addicted to drugs and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that the children are going to be hooked on drugs, but if they have that dominant gene to be addicted to something, they may not be addicted to drugs, but they could be addicted to something else, exactly, or whatever. And that's how it works or whatever. You can't, like, you don't get to choose just because you saying that, okay, we can take these different avenues. You can, and if you're strong enough to break away, or I mean, you may learn some things or whatever. But Capel, my point is, just with that specific thing, is you have personality traits that are there from day one, bro. That's all I'm saying with that.
I agree.
Yeah, you do have personality traits. Like, and I don't disagree with anything that you just said, but I also look at the fact that, like, the example you gave as far as the alcohol and traits that, you know, you're more prone to addiction with certain things because of your family history. I completely agree with that. I mean, it's scientific research that supports that. But I wouldn't use that in this particular situation simply because if I was to ask you, like, how would you think your son would be doing if everybody was homeschooled and he had to learn at home? He wasn't around other kids to be around, and you know, how would he be doing? Like,
I got the answer for that.
Would he be doing this bad? Would you see it as bad, or would you just see him as a, like, my point of asking you that is your interpretation of what the school is saying wouldn't be the same. You may see differences in how you, and the reason why I bring it up is because school is a construct that we cannot control. It is not the same everywhere. Like the schools that he's at, it's very possible, and I can tell you this because this is the kind of principal. And the school that he's at right now, it's very possible that if he was at a school with like a principal like me, where you wouldn't even hear about a lot of stuff. Why? Because we work with kids in a different way. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the behaviors that you describe about your kid, dude, I got hundreds of them that act like that. That's why Gina's like, and what we do with them is we continue to give them strategies. We conference with them. We have processes and programs to work with. A lot of parents don't even hear about a lot of stuff their kids do because we'll be calling them all day, every day. A lot of kids don't get suspended. So my point is like, because it's school and because it's different everywhere, it's possible that I'm guessing here. I know you have issues with him at home too, but I also feel like it's probably extended because of the issues that the school calls home with and the things they do.
Absolutely.
So it's possible. So that has something to do with it as well. Is the and I know that's not a solution to anything, but I'm just saying that to bring up that the society that we live in has a lot to do with the issues that our kids have.
You're right.
Yeah.
And it's also what because here's the thing, teachers talk, and we every year when we have incoming students, like the incoming 6th grade group, we always hear things about them. Oh, this is a really good group. Y'all got a bunch of good kids coming in from the elementary school. They say that, or, ooh, y'all better watch out because y'all got let me just list off the kids you're going to have problems with. So we already are like, we're laser focused on those kids already coming in because we've heard things already. So it may be like, my son doesn't act bad at school. He's like at school, his teachers are like, oh my God, we love him so much. He's so perfect. And I'm like, he thinks he runs things here at our house. What's happening at school? Like, why isn't he acting like that here? What, you know?
I wish I had that.
He's perfect. He's super smart. He's GT. He's like, his teachers are calling me saying, can he stay after school to work on his GT project for the Horizon Showcase? And I'm like, he runs the house. Yes, please keep him after school, because that's less time for me telling him to quit doing whatever he's doing, because he touches everything, he does everything, he pees all over the toilet. Like, no matter how many times I say don't do it, he does it, and in every bathroom, and he has his own bathroom. So peeing, like, no matter how many times I say do this, and do this, I still have to tell him that, but that he doesn't have that problem at school. So it's their environment.
See, that sounds like a structural issue. That's what it sounds like to me.
It is. And I think every kid can have but also it is their personality, because my older son has very distinct traits of his father. And for a long time, he wasn't seeing his dad consistently. He saw him, they spent time together, but it wasn't consistent. And so I'm like, how do you know to do that? Your dad does that exact thing. That's just in you. It's just in him. And so just like some things are in me from my mom and my dad, and things that I mean, maybe I picked up on them and I watched them and I learned them, or maybe they're just in me, but they are just in him. And so that's why he behaves the way that he does. But my older son he went through a phase. And so sometimes it is just a phase, and then they snap out of it one day and they're like, oh, everything is fine now. What the hell were you dealing with? That's how I had to do my older son. I was like, what the hell was going on with you? Because for a while I thought you were crazy and I thought I was going to have to kill you. And so now that little one, he's been running our house pretty much since he was old enough to talk, and like really talk. And he didn't talk for a while because he couldn't hear. He had to get tubes in his ears. Once he learned to talk, he never shut up, even now. So yeah, it's a wrap. So he does run, he questions everything. The oldest one didn't do that. He can be manipulative at times. One time I gave him a half of a cookie because I was sick of him asking me. So I gave him half, and he was gone for like 10 minutes, and he came back and said, Mommy, I think he was maybe 3 years old. He said, Mommy, my favorite shape is a circle, and I only have half of the circle, and I need the other half of that cookie to make my favorite shape. I need it. Logic. I really need it. And I was like, I just gave it to him just on G, because what kid that young is that manipulative to do that? And I'm like,
no, that was just logical.
He's different. That's what I'm saying.
You little sneak. And so he's been like that for his whole life. He's very like, he'll say, Mommy, can you take me to school today? Because he wants something. Or I want to ride with Daddy all these days to school. And then Fridays, I want to go with you, because he knows I stop at McDonald's on Fridays to get my coffee, and I'm going to probably get something for him too. So Fridays, he's like, I just want to ride with you on Fridays. On the other days, I want to go with Daddy.
Yeah, you ain't about nothing on the other days.
What? That's the kind of kid the younger one is. And I don't know if that's his personality. And it probably is his personality, because at 3 years old, how are you that manipulative to come and tell me you need the other part of that cookie because you need to make your favorite shape? Really?
You know what though? I wouldn't use manipulative. I would use analytical. He's smart. He's smart. He's very analytical. He's analyzing these situations, and he's making decisions based on what he knows about his environment.
He got kicked out of daycare, but he got kicked out of daycare too. I had to leave work and go get him from daycare and when I got there, he was underneath the chair with one shoe on, screaming. The daycare owner was sitting in the chair, but he was under the chair, on the floor, banging the floor, screaming with one shoe on. When I walked in there and he saw me, he hopped his ass up and he just looked at me. I said, what are you doing? Where is your shoe? He calmly, he stopped hollering. He went over and got his shoe, put it on. And he said, are we leaving now, Mommy? And the daycare owner looked at me and said, oh, I see what's going on here. And he gave me a card and said, take your son to see this therapist, because I see what's happening here.
Been through that.
Yeah, he was like, your kid needs to, he was recommending that I take my kid to therapy because, I got a bad seed going on here, and he's doing this over here and this over here. So part of it's environment, because Jordan knew he could act the fool up at that daycare. Yeah. And then and them to treat him like that. And then the other is environment, personality and environment. They both play a factor. That nature versus nurture argument that we always hear. So it's a little bit of both. So I don't know what to say to certain kids. I do know that I don't ever give up on any students. I rarely write students up when they get in, like I have to be, that's like the last resort. I've called your mom, I've done this. Like, I'm not giving up. Even when I write them up, I'm not giving up on them, because the very next day when they come back, if they got suspended or whatever, it's like it never happened. And that's what so many students come to me and say, Ms. Cooper, you're mean, like you're strict, but you don't harp on things. If something happens and like you're mad, you fuss at us for a little while, and then like 30 seconds later, you forget about it and we move on. And that's because, one, I want to make sure you don't think I'm giving up on you, and I'm giving you another chance to get it right. And also, number two, I don't have time to keep harping on that. We got stuff to do. So yes, I did forget about it.
And that's why you teacher of the year. That is why you teacher.
That's what's up. So we got to move on or whatever. It's time to close out. But anyway,
we're at 59 minutes.
When Ebony and Capel, when y'all have a kid acting like damn Donkey Kong, throwing barrels and chairs and shit like that, then y'all come talk to me about y'all program.
Well, I actually have
my
one.
Class.
He's 18 now, and I'll just say they had those issues too. And I'm not saying everything changed with me, but I think
you're right.
I think it came from a different place, and I probably am wrong when I did this, when I look back at it, but I told him, I was like, I noticed when he was doing those behaviors, and he would do them in female teachers' rooms.
Yep.
I would tell him, I said, so, he used to tell me, I have an anger problem. I said, well, I noticed that in my opinion, most people, when they have anger problems, it doesn't matter when it happens. It's not it's at 3:00 on Monday is when I'm going to have a tantrum. Yeah. Your tantrums happen in certain places with certain people, and you never have an anger issue with your coaches. You never have an anger issue here at home with your dad or me. So his was a little different. And I told him, I don't like embarrassing people, but I will embarrass you. I'm not getting they called me one time. We never had, but before he lived with me, they were at the school every week. So I don't know how it magically stopped with me, but I was just like, I'll embarrass your ass.
It was time. That's all.
Wherever you show out is where you get out.
It was time.
You're right, bro. I am going to call you because you're doing a phenomenal job with your son.
You are.
I've seen the flip side of what happens with parents who have kids who with similar situations, and I've seen the flip side when they don't do a good job. So if I do have a daughter or a son that's going through it, you're the first person I'm calling. So I'm gonna call you.
Hey, y'all, guess what? Oh, go ahead.
I'm just gonna send the kids. If I have more kids, I'm sending them to you, and I'm sending my niece to you. I mean, we're in this together. I'm sending my kid to the teacher of the year. Capel, you are a phenomenal principal. I just need just hearing you. I don't even know any of your students.
He is.
But
I call him when he ain't even in 6th grade. I'm like, hey, I need your help with this.
Can y'all just send a bus? If I have some kids, can y'all just overlook the address? I'm gonna be lying to send my kids to y'all and send a bus over my way too, please.
We in this together. I'm just a phone call away anytime.
And I need free lunch too. Look, I need y'all to look away on the free lunch. All of that.
We can give that too. We do that too.
I finally figured out what I would do if I had unlimited money.
Snap!
Since y'all was riding me.
Yeah, come on now, tell us.
It better not be anything practical.
Yeah, don't come up here trying to act like, oh my gosh, they just research some stocks and stuff. It got to be ignorant.
I ain't built the most ignorant thing I would do.
Yes.
Is I would have me a private jet. And when I'm ready to go eat, when we're going out to eat, I would take the private jet to these different cities and states and stuff like that to go get a hamburger at this.
I love it.
Okay, that's not practical. That's not practical.
I love that. And can we drop some fuel on my baby daddy's on his house?
I don't want to run out. I don't want to take the chance.
Just a little.
Don't take a private jet to go to the Checkers in New Orleans because that's the only one that got good wings.
What I will do is we can fly past his house and we can do the dump over his house. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
all the blue stuff could be all over or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like he just robbed the bank or something. I thought he hit the diet pack or something.
We can do that.
All right. So this has been another great episode of Acoustic Chef, man. Y'all do not forget to like and subscribe, man. We on everything, man. YouTube, Spotify, what else? Apple, Google. I think Google Play is Google Play. I think they canceling Google Play or whatever.
I got some changes coming.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's eventually gonna phase out, but they may replace it with something.
Yeah, but we on everything, man. Y'all check us out if y'all want to see us. We on the YouTubes and all of that. So
and tell me what name I need to change to. I need to grow up. I need a new name, y'all.
Suggestions. Let's put this question in the Facebook group as well, so we can have some suggestions. They're pretty active.
I like that idea. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, that's what it is, man. Y'all holler at us, man. Good day.
Peace.
Until next time.
Later.